My name is Amber Rust. I am the head photographer and owner at Two Color Photography. We specialize in newborn photography, but we do also do families, and you have to be the right person for me to shoot your wedding because I don't love weddings. But I have a team of photographers that we send out to do a different sessions for us. I like to specialize in the newborns, and nobody photographs my newborns but me. So this is my assistant Elizabeth. I'm going to tell you a little bit about. I've been in business for 17 years. I've been specializing in newborns for the last 12, 13 years. I don't know how some people say I've been specializing for this long because I don't know when the definite point has been that I decided to specialize. I have a gorgeous 3,000 square foot studio in Brigham City, Utah. And I'm not even worried about that. She doesn't need it. My studio is a 3,000 square foot rentable studio. We renovated a 100-year-old hospital, and the top floor of this hospital was the maternity suite back in the 1930s, and it was clear in use up until 1976. So the room you are standing in with me right now is the labor and delivery room of the hospital from 1930. So this is the original cabinetry, the original tile. So you're standing inside the original labor and delivery room of a 1930s hospital. And it is now my newborn studio, newborn and babies. This is my assistant Elizabeth, and this is little Kimberly. And she's like ready to go. 6 pounds, 4 ounces. She loves her binky, which makes me very, very excited. But what I'm going to show you today is just what?
Just showing around the studio for a second.
My husband is my tech guru, tech crew, both. Crew. My husband is my guru. So we're going to do a workflow. I always start with baby wrapped. I'm just going to work you through my workflow, and at about 45 minutes, we're going to call cut. Unless baby's so sleepy and I just want to keep going, we'll see. And you're welcome to stay as long as you like. If you want me to keep going, we can keep going. I always start wrapped. We do wrapped in a bucket, wrapped in flocati, wrapped in another bucket, and then I move over to my beanbag. I'm shooting with a Canon EOS R. I also shoot with a Canon Mark IV, 5D Mark IV, and I'm using an Alien B 400. Like, stop yelling. So she was an Alien B 400 with an 86-inch PLM from Paul C. Bell. And I'm just going to get right into it. I don't want to waste your 45 minutes of me just standing here swaying, putting everybody to sleep. So I always stay here. My assistant kind of helps with binky drops and all of our little things. I am going to keep her diaper on her. Pull my hair back. Okay. Oh my goodness. Oh, yeah, we're going to bring the heat a little bit closer. Because it is a 1930s hospital, there's 6 inches of cement for the floor, 6 inches of cement for the ceiling, and brick walls. So it's really, really cold in the winter. So we've got 3 heaters running. Oh, she likes that. She's out. This is awesome. So I'm wrapping with half a foot of fabric over here. I just need to be able to tuck it over here. We're going to wrap with her arms just under her chin a little bit. Oh, a little bit. I have all my little tools that I need, always just right here next to me. My cute little caddy. I can call you my caddy. I'm your caddy. I'm your little caddy. The bands are squished up here. Now, a lot of photographers, I've just been watching the Milky Way retreat. I signed up for the online Milky Way retreat, and a lot of photographers start with a base color that they're actually never going to shoot on, and I actually don't do that, and I will explain why when we get to that post. So I'm actually starting with the fabric that I'm going to be using. I also am really particular about my base fabric. I don't want a floppy base wrap, even though it's not going to be seen. I feel like every wrinkle adds on to the next layer of wrinkles. So So I'm going to make my first layer of wrap as perfect as if it were the only layer that's going to show. So I've got her little toes. This little toe kind of tucks right into her knee pit, and this little foot just kind of sits up here, and I'll kind of lay it flat a little bit so I don't have extra pokies hanging out all over the place. I'm tucking this excess back behind her back. I use my chest to hold her little toes in place, and I'm just kind of tugging it up a little bit. I'm going to kind of analyze what I've got going on here so I can make any adjustments or wrinkle fixes on the first white here. Just lay this foot down. Make sure her other hand is visible. So I'm going to tuck that down. I don't like the bent elbows. I feel like it makes them look like their little wrists are broken. So I was just tucking her little elbow down more so that her wrist isn't popping up like that. Then I take a...
There's a question.
Yep.
Can you show how long of a wrap you use for the base?
It's the same as this one. All of my wraps are about the same. Say a little over. This is a yard or 3 yards, right? You can do finger to toe. Yeah, so I would say like 50 inches. I would estimate 50 to 60 inches long. For the outer wrap, where you can do some more of the creative wrapping, I do get the longer textured wrap, so I can do a little bit more. She's only 6 pounds. If I did a bigger wrap on her, she would look really funny, I'm afraid. So then my second wrap comes up around the shoulder. Another pet peeve, this has to look nice. You can't, any layer of slop that you have is going to carry on to the next layer. So I just make sure it's tucked in really nice, under her little chin. There's no little wrinkles. Give it a little bend. Tuck it back behind her back. And tuck it over her shoulder again. And make sure we've got her straight on. And then again, I'm just making sure there's no sloppiness. Her fingers look good, and her wrist looks good, and when she's small enough, I can go one more time. And there we go. And then, at this point, give me your little patch clip. This is best discovery ever for wrapping. Especially if you have siblings and you're going to have the siblings holding the baby, and you don't want the sibling to be focusing on where the wrap is going and how it's coming undone. So we grab a little cast clip on Amazon, bring it back behind, and we just So this doesn't matter. You're never going to see the back of the baby's wrap. So this looks a little crazy. If I wanted to, I could probably pull this up and put another cast clip on. But as long as the front looks nice and clean, we're good. So here's the weird trick that moms always give me the funny looks when I pull this out. Which is fine. It's super weird. I don't know what this is called. It's probably 1/8 of an inch.
A question, how many wraps will you typically use at once?
I'm going to do the base wrap, then I'm going to do this little guy, then I'm going to do a white or cream or just some neutral colored wrap to smooth out all the bumps, and then I will change the wrap for every setup that I have. So I've got 3 setups today. We'll be changing the wrap 3 different times, but she ever only has the 3 wraps on at a time. Yeah, she does. Take this little thing, I'm going to fold it in half. I'm just going to round out her butt. Have you seen, and I haven't bought one, they're called baby fat tubes, and it's like a cone, and it's this kind of material, and they just slide it over the baby's head and it rounds out their bottom. So this is just a little more of a DIY way to round out baby's bottoms and give them more of that rounded look and less of the lima bean look. I just got this at Joann's. I'm doing a DIY video and making a moon prop, because apparently I'm also a seamstress. I'm not, that's hilarious. I'm not. And I just grabbed this while I was there, and it came in a huge roll. I bought 2 yards. I cut it thin enough, and then I'm folding it in half, and it's just going to smooth out that bottom and make her look so round, rounded bottom. And even from here, I want to be making the shape that I'm looking for right from the beginning. And it's not tight. I can fit my whole fist still in there. You don't want to suffocate the baby. But I do want to be making my shape as I go along.
So the question is, what is the stuff you're using to round out called? Interfacing.
It is not interfacing. There's the packaging still back there with the other stuff. It's really foamy. I used to have the packaging, but I think I may have thrown it away. But it was back by the pillow batting and the quilting batting and all that kind of stuff. But it was, I liked that it was thinner because I don't want her to look like a Oompa Loompa.
Also, can you talk about the clips a little more? I think they're cast clips, right?
Yeah, they're cast clips. So I don't know, like back before when you break an arm, before the doctor will put a hard cast on it while he waits for your swelling to go down. I mean, I say that because I have 5 kids and we've experienced that before a couple times in our lifetime. There you go. So this is going to give me her little rounded bottom look. But of course we can't have that be our final. I just want to go around a little bit more. Okay. So then comes the wrap. This is the wrap that I use that won't ever be photographed. It's just going to be used to smooth out the lines from the other thing. Sorry, my accountant's calling. Again, we start at the shoulder. And I'm going to make this layer is really important to have it be as smooth as you can, because it's the last layer that, you know, the next layer is going to be the layer that shows. Take your time and do it right, because there's only so much you can fix in Photoshop, and you shouldn't have to spend all your day fixing things in Photoshop. Bring it under her boom. And then that just rounds out. This is not a tight wrap. Again, nothing, at this point, nothing's really holding her in. I just want not a ton of wrinkles. I don't want things that I'm going to have to go in and fix later. So just smoothing out the bump. Okay, So she is ready for the first cube wrap. See how it just rounded her out and makes her look a little less like a lima bean or a potato, or it is like a couch potato sack.
So you had a question, I think you told me this time too. I had that stuff on my arm as I have lymphedema, and it was crazy hot. I would be a bit worried about how hot the baby is, especially so close to the heater.
Yeah, we're not going to pose her close to the heater. We're bringing her clear over here. And remember how I said this room right now, if I turn this heater off, I will drop down into the 60s really fast. So I'm not too worried about her overheating.
She also doesn't stay in it for long.
Yeah, we don't keep her in this longer than 10 minutes if she stays asleep the whole time. So this wrap, I want it different. We're going to start it differently than the other one. I want it in half. I'm going to drape it over my legs, half on one side, half on the other. It comes up over this way. And I'm going to be really cautious to hide the other colors of my wrap. I don't want to show the cream and the green. And I'm going to tuck it under my butt for a second. I'm going to bring this one around. Tuck it under my butt for a second. Really perfect everything. Now this piece comes up behind her. And I'm going to tuck this back under here. So we've started like a little crisscross pattern. I've got a pattern here, I've got a piece here. This one's going to come down a little bit lower and create another crisscross, I guess. I'm going to tuck it, and then we're going to do the same thing over here. It's going cross back behind her. Hold this. Shoulders and come down and cross this way. And then I'm going to take one more little cast clip. Oh, and I kind of wanted to talk about getting an assistant. Like, I don't know how many of you shoot with an assistant, but it is so nice to be able to have somebody just as a second watch on the baby.
My eyes are smiling.
I'm just going to check to make sure I can hide all the other color. And bada bing, bada boom. So this is the pretty one. And what we're going to do is I've got this basket already set up over here. And these are some of the layers from, oh, and the wrap is also from Michelle. The wrap and the layers,
She actually
obviously.
posted it.
Oh, good. Perfect. Because I forgot to say something. I was supposed to, and I apologize. So whenever I prop them in here, I put their butt in first, and I kind of burrow it down. And then you slowly just drop their head. I've got pillow under here, and a burp cloth kind of tipping the basket up. Now, I wanted to talk about that. I love the texture of this bow, but it doesn't quite match, so I'm going to do a color change in Photoshop. Because I love the velvet. There we go. And then a little catching of the colors going through here. I'm going to tip her head so that my light, that is that is working on the basket, is hitting her at her temple, and flashing down her body. I think you've probably heard a million times, if you're on Michelle's course, or on Michelle's Facebook page, any newborn Facebook page, the photographers will tell you never to shoot up the baby's nose with your light or with your camera. So, strap on my settings, because somebody always asks. We are shooting at ISO 100, shutter speed 160, aperture 2.8. Always, always. Check my lighting just in case. Absolutely stunning. Let me show you a little. Where is it? Come closer.
Yeah, we go blur.
Anyway, yeah, sorry. So what I'm going to do now that she's here and it's actually this gorgeously, perfectly posed, and she's doing so amazing, is I'm going to take a close up. I'm getting a little bit of that green in there.
Remember, a couple questions.
Okay.
One light you were using, Kimberly answered that it's Alien B400, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, do you use a dog bed under the basket?
Yep, there is a dog bed under the basket.
And then when you're finished with the prop, can you see how you place the poser again?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, and then after I've done shooting this way, or close up, and okay, so we've shot this way, and notice how I'm kind of leaned over the top of her, because if I take her this way, I'm shooting right up her nose. So I'm leaning in, over the top of her, I'm shooting a wide angle shot, a close-up shot, and a vertical. And then, sometimes we just like to get a little different angle from over here. And that's it. So that's why if you've got that base wrap and the other wrap in there, boom, 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 boom. We do our mini wrapped sessions in less than 45 minutes. So if we take this off, she was liking it so much. This is how we've got it set up, just a pillow underneath, and then underneath the bowl, I do have a little receiving blanket, yeah. Yep, so we're done with that. I'm gonna move this cute little setup, and I'm gonna take this wrap off. And it shouldn't disturb her too bad. And I've got the half clip on there somewhere.
Moving the double tip.
This just one way to do. This is also what I bought, matching bonnet and wrap that I got from Michelle. Put her back on my lap. I don't want any amniotic fluid from the 1930s hospital to get on my stuff.
Question, how large is your studio space?
This room in here, well, you're my engineer, what's it, 350? My total building is 3,000 square feet. We have an 800 square foot studio in the front, and then a smaller 300 square foot studio also in the front. And then I believe this room was another 300, 350.
Okay.
He did all my measuring, so that should be his question. I used to shoot at home until the opportunity for this studio came up, and we grabbed it. So the next wrap I'm going to do is another different one from last time. I'm going to start with only that 6 inches to a foot on the one side of the baby. Take this off before I accidentally forget to take it off. Spend some time to tuck that screen again. Okay. And this time I'm not going to spread it out as much. I kind of want it just a little bit like this. Tuck it in there. Over the shoulder. Hiding all of the fabric we don't want to see. And flatten that. again, this layer now shows, so everything on this layer has to be absolutely perfect. Up. Yesterday's baby, we just called her a tractor. She was the whole time. And then we're going to make another line this way. Go around again. I actually really like, so this wrap, it kind of curls at the edge. On this hose, I really like it because it gives me another level of texture, I think. It's another layer. Bing, bada, boom. I am going to bring this up. What it looks like. I'm going to tie it opposite her hand. We spent half of our session saying she's so cute.
Yeah,
Right? So
that's
cute.
true.
Elizabeth doesn't have kids yet. She's kind of a newlywed.
Yeah.
So we're kind of like trying to get her to have kids.
It's a job hazard.
Yeah, it's a job hazard. You don't have kids before, you will by the time you're done. There's our cute little wrap. Oh, that's okay. I'm sure she's probably backlit actually, so we'll show them when we're in here. So let me show you the layers I've got in here and what I've got in this basket. The very bottom have a weight. So important. 7.5 pound weight. She's a 6 pound baby. She's not going to go anywhere. Then this is also a layer of Michelle's. And I think one thing I've noticed, a lot of times I used to add more padding in the front. But with this specific wrap, it makes them too big to actually put them in the bucket. So we're not going to add too much more padding. She does, where'd that little pillow go, the little foam? This.
Okay.
So I did create this little monstrosity, but it never shows. I'm kind of a DIYer. This, if I need more head support, Elizabeth will slide that underneath. And we'll tuck it in there and give her a little bit of head support if we feel like she needs it, which she very well might. And then these curly layers are also Michelle's. I'm debating about these flowers. Tell me yay or nay, guys. Like if I want them there or not. I want to show all of the layers or there's no point in having them there. Face to the butt. Let's move the foam thing until we get her in there.
Yeah.
I also don't want to squish her to make her uncomfortable. There we go. And then we can add and pull this up if we need. I'm going to pull her up again just because we lost some of these curls from the bottom. And I want those to show. And look how ugly the back is. Doesn't matter. You can't see me when I just said that. So I want some like up here.
Oh, right.
So there's a question, her hands are looking purple, does that concern you?
No, it does not. Any nurse in any NICU unit, or any, not NICU, they just don't have circulation to their hands. So, and we only have one more wrap left here. And they're still warm. What we're looking for, so let's talk about safety a little bit. What we're looking for to know if baby's losing unsafe circulation is if her hands are cold, which they're absolutely not, and if her lips are turning purple, which they absolutely are not. So she's just great. I know even just in the hospital, my babies always have purple toes. Let's just do a little bit of. As I fall.
You're good.
It wasn't part of the
We got the audio.
Yeah, we have the audio. Did I swear? No. Good job.
You look so graceful.
So this is also pillow batting or quilt batting. And I just kind of rip it. I don't know. I just feel like spending a ton of money on props that can only do, or posers that can only do one or two things.
There we go.
Yes. Finish. Yep. Okay. Put every little thing in its place. Even from the ribbon on her little cheek. Yeah.
She's just talking, but she's so
Clean
quiet.
her up. Hands over here. Bring the light closer. Camera strap on my neck. Oh, I'm gonna move that leg though. Okay. Oh, this way. I just had to move the leg because I'm gonna have to finish on that later. Stunning. So zoom in. Vertical. One little more thing out. Bada bing, bada boom. I don't know how long that's been, but in what? No more than 10 minutes. And then we're going to move to the third wrap that I'm going to do. I'm going to show here, but I've got it tucked over here. So. And this is where I always grab my macro shot.
Oh, can you see the back of the cam shot?
Yeah.
Bring that over.
Absolutely. I will post pictures later. It's obviously, I'm a stickler for shooting correct in camera. Photograph about 100 newborns a year. We get about a third of those newborns back for milestone pictures. And then we end up getting family sessions, weddings, seniors, commercial product photography, food photography. I don't have time to correct every single image for exposure, so I am pretty stickler in studio where I have 100% control. I am a stickler about lighting. So this last little wrap over here, and then we'll do one last one on the beanbag over there. What time have we got? Oh, amazing. I think we'll do crisscross one here, and I'll make a little.
Michelle, and you kind of mentioned this when Michelle asked, when you edit these, you pop a couple of finished images on here for us to
Yes,
see.
absolutely. Absolutely.
So maybe restate that on the thing.
Yeah, so we will pop some finished images on the Facebook page so you can see how I edit them and how they look. So we edited, so this one's obviously really clear, or not clear, see-through.
Sheer?
Sheer. Ooh. The other reason you have an assistant, which is why I chose a cream underlayer instead of like a white. Not even a big deal. But we're gonna make a little bow. We're gonna come up to here first. I'm just gonna make a smaller bow.
Is the baby snoring?
Just make these little sounds. I don't even know what they're called.
They all do it every time.
So fun. My mom's a labor and delivery nurse, an LPN or an RN at a hospital. She said every baby does this. There we go. It's okay to be a stickler about your images, guys. Like, take the time to make it really, really nice. And we're just gonna bring it over this way. Sit on it. This one's gonna come over this way. And sit on it. I also teach online courses. We have a business called the Baby Photo Academy, and the one thing we see the most from our students is just the lack of the time it takes to just perfect an image. Sometimes they just think, well, the baby's asleep, we're just going to take it and it's fine. So the one thing we just talk about the most in our course, not the most, but a lot in our course, is taking the time to make the image what you want it before you even shoot it. Because you can't go back and fix it all the time. There we go. We're down just a norm, so we're good on low circulation. We didn't go. Fun. And then we'll opposite. Okay. And I'm just going to bring her over to our little potty setup here. Put her bum in first. She's smaller, so what I'm actually going to probably do is lift her up here by putting some more padding underneath. Yesterday's baby was a 9-pounder, so a little different. There we go. And even with your focati, just taking the time to make the wrinkles be what you want them to be.
Do you ever do some without the bonnet in the same pose?
Yes, good, thank you. Because what we're going to do after this one is just show a really, really fast. I've got a little bow that we'll
Take
switch
it down
out.
because it's not light.
So yeah, as soon as we're done, we'll do a couple shots with a bonnet because some parents don't love bonnets, some parents do. So yeah, absolutely. As soon as we're done with this bonnet, we'll take it off and actually put it on this little headband. And I'm going to move that because I just lectured about not editing stuff out all the time.
Michelle asked, are you using a cat scratcher?
I am. You should ask me how many cats I actually have at home. Because the answer is none. I have no. I have a hedgehog. But he doesn't use any of this stuff. We have a cat bed, a dog bed, and a cat scratcher.
It's good because we know it's a pristine cat scratcher.
Yeah. No
Never
cat has
used.
ever touched this cat scratcher. And then again, because of the angle of her head, we're actually shooting from the top of her down.
So beautiful.
I'm kind of an old-fashioned shoot with my viewfinder person. I do like the EOS Rs. My Mark IV doesn't do this. It allows me not to have to, because I'm old and my back hurts a lot. But I do still like to be able to frame it in my viewfinder and shoot the image. And then a close-up. And trim her a little bit. We've got an issue with my lighting and we bumped this, I think. And just move that little bump in her head out. Check the lighting out even a bit. Much better. Close up. Look this way. We're going to take the little hat off. Now we get a crying face. She likes the bonnet. Watch your head while I go grab the hand. She likes to make the first tie before we even turn. the big thing I see is a lot of photographers will go like that. Headbands should be on top of their head. Maybe a little off on the side. And then we can easily give mom. This baby's got hair. Gotta show the hair off. Close up. You know, proper little fingers. And from the dark side a little bit. And on this one, I like to put her in the bottom corner and put the body off to the side. Oh no, I'm gonna take that because it's cute. As soon as inside, I'm putting her in a powder in the corner, the third. Oh, so pretty. Okay, now we're gonna take my extension tube.
There's a really quick question about, do you know the name of your light stand?
I bought it off of another photographer. This says Avengel, Evangel? But I did buy it off of another photographer from him. But I love, I don't know if you noticed, it has these big weights on the bottom. Because I do photograph children, there's 3 10-pound weights on there. I don't ever want it top heavy. What's that?
They like to grab it.
Yeah, they like to grab it, roll around with it. And then I don't want, my light is so heavy, if you use any less stable with base, you're going to lose your light on top of some poor baby's head. Okay, so I just put on a set of extension tubes for macro shots. When you're manual focus, I want, with my macro shot, I want to increase my depth of field, so we're going to go like 7. But because of that, I have to increase my ISO by about 7. And then I'm manually focusing.
Somebody mentioned twins this week, can't move today, I understand old.
Yeah. Old hit me at like 40. I could do this just fine, and then 40 hit, and I can't even anymore. Too old for this. I'll go a little bit brighter. Good. And then we're going to do our little lips, but I want them closed a little bit more. I might have you just tuck your little hand underneath of that.
You want to close the lips?
There you go. Oh. So cute.
You show that shot?
Little lips. And the little eyes. You zoom in because it doesn't have a ton of little eyelashes, but there are little eyes. I'm going to take off some extension tube. And this is my biggest switch from the session. Probably don't put your bottom $900 lens in your head. Especially when your husband and I'm recording. I'll focus back on. So I shoot on that. You saw the dog bed. You saw the cat scratcher. I still also shoot on a shoot baby beanbag. We're going to move the light over here. But this gives me a lot of poses that I can give mom. She's not, it's like she's crying, but she's not even crying. Yeah, she's like, and this is why, so they're going to get right now, if baby decided she didn't like this anymore, they've got a really beautiful gallery. I'm not going to stop right now, but they've got a really beautiful gallery. Usually on the dog bed, I will do a few more poses, but I wanted to get onto my shoot baby beanbag and kind of show some of the workflow that I do on that. And I'm going to keep her wrapped. So you're noticing that the color I've got on my beanbag, this came from company that does, she used to do subscription boxes, and every other month I would just get a box, and it would have a wrap, a backdrop, a headband, and a bonnet. And she stopped doing it for a while. I'm very sad. I'm as sad as Kinsley is. I'm going to gripe and complain about it, but I'm not really going to do anything about it.
Not all of us are sad.
Not all of us are sad. Yeah, my husband's really glad that I stopped that one monthly payment. I'll do this standing just because I'm already going to be standing. So let me flip and show underneath all of this mess. So the Shoot Baby beanbag, I've had it for years and years and years and years. Then we have a heating pad, and then 2 layers of fabric that I don't ever shoot on. So this ugly green and this ugly white are just like my protection, my barrier between the heating pad and the baby. And then depending on what colors I'm all picked out, we layer the colors. We're only going to do this blue on her today, but sometimes I'll just keep the layers there because all the layers keep all the wrinkles smooth. I'm going to let Mom pick. Headband or hat? Headband. Okay. Love having an assistant.
So there was some more questions about the temperatures. So now that you're kind of unwrapping her, you might want to just kind of talk about how she feels. Does she feel hot?
No, she still feels really good. So this heater in the back has a thermostat on it. My room is only 71 degrees right now. She's really not overheated. I promise we're not keeping her too warm. This one is programmed to shut off at 75. This one's programmed to shut off at 80. It's just too cold of a room to ever get that way. In the summer, we actually don't use heating at all. It's just naturally warm. So she is not overheated. She's just not just a bug in a rug. You have to remember when Mom is pregnant with this baby, Mom's internal temperature is like 98 point whatever. So even 80 degrees is not overheating baby. I don't recommend shooting at 84 degrees all the time. And that's also why we keep the layers between the heating pad and the baby, because you obviously don't want that heating pad right below her. So, put her little head down on.
I also feel like our number one focus is like how baby is feeling. Yeah. Like that's basically my job when Amber's shooting.
The assistant's number one job is like checking, make sure baby's not going to roll off the beanbag, checking for temperature, checking for head safety. She keeps her eye on this baby like the entire time. So I'm going to get one.
Really quick, Amber, there was one more question.
Yep.
Did you make the frame for the beanbag?
Yes. My husband did. I'm not going to say I did. We did. It's a custom-made beanbag. It has hinges at the back, so it can come apart. Well, I don't know if it can anymore. When I got old, we had to raise it up because my back, so I don't think it comes apart anymore. When we initially made it, it was on hinges. We could take it apart and store it. But at that point, we were in a home studio, and it was also like our kids' game room when we weren't shooting, so we wanted it flexible. But yeah, it's custom made. I love.
Does it have wheels?
It has a wheel on the back, so we can just pick it up and tilt it. A lot of photographers don't use lighting when they come in here, so they open this wall of windows when they rent this space from me. And this can rotate back and forth or slide this way or that way, depending on how they want to light their baby in the natural light. So we've got her wrapped still. I'm going to keep her wrapped, but I'm going to kind of unwrap her. I think there's a better place for the camera.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. Give me 1 second. I'm going to try to do this. There we go.
So, box stuffing.
Oh yeah.
Amber, can you get the microphone from my hand and just set it on next to you?
Ta-da! Okay, so we're going to unwrap her down to like, not all the way. And Elizabeth is my feet catcher. Because we don't want baby to flail. And then one more layer. she's stretching. Okay, we're only going to go this far. We're going to take the same wrap. We're going to just make sure it's up around her shoulder, taking around her butt and her bottom, covering up her diaper. Letting her relax. Let me grab a lady grabber. Gonna take it. Okay. Yeah, we put it in. She'll let it. She might not want it now. It's alright. We lost our shoulder. Got her. I'm going to gently lift her head up and wrap down and around. And this is where I can catch her shoulder again. She just wants to make noise.
How old did you say the baby was?
6 days old. I just knew she was under 14. I didn't ask how. Sorry. And I'm kind of tugging it to make sure that her feet are going to stay put when we unwrap her. Oops, we lost her shoulder again. Come up around her head. Capture her shoulder again. Get under her belt. I might not even go around that last time because it's not going to go. It's not going to go all the way around, and I don't want to have to try to hide it or pin it or anything like that. So then this little Walmart quilting batting stuff turns into our best friend.
Show it to the camera.
Sorry. Oh, hi. So it's just, I just fold it. When baby pees, I just throw it away. Like if it gets soiled, it's so inexpensive. And if it gets soiled, we just throw it away. So I'm tucking it underneath the heating pad, under all my layers, and I'm just lifting up her head a little bit. And we're going to tilt her bum back towards the back of the beanbag and her head up. And the other benefit of this padding is I can make really minuscule adjustments. And then let's see what her feet are doing down here, because I want both toes to poke out. But we don't want the diaper to show. And I'm going to take this little hand and stick it under her cheek. Stretch. I'm going to hold her. I'm going to get a little more padding. She's kind of leaning into the beanbag this way, so I'm going to just wedge some under her bum and towards the front of her. And then I want her, oh, there's the bunny. Oh, I was looking for her all day today. I'm just checking her little elbow. On the other side, she can even come down and hold her foot. I feel like she's leaning in towards the beanbag a little bit. Now my shooting angle is going to be coming down like this. I'm going to check my lighting before Elizabeth moves her hand. Because anytime we move the light, I want to make sure I'm doing a light check. Gorgeous. You ready? Okay. Yep. Oh, it's alright, we're okay, see? Yep. So I'm tippy-toe, angled my camera down, or clockwise, so then when it straightens out, it looks like she's not as flat as she actually is. And then we're going to do a couple different angles. Maybe. Okay, that's okay. So if she'll let us, I'm going to do one last pose because it's still considered semi-wrapped. Got her little elbow. Don't let her feet escape the wrap. I'm over an hour. Okay. You guys can hop off if you want, or we can just see if we can get this one finished up. She might not love it as much. Our baby sister hanging over here. I have to kind of look at this one. Okay. My hands on our shoulders. You put your hand here. I'm going to take this back piece and I'm going to unslide it. Just in turn, we'll tip our little body back, which is what I want. And we're going to take off the diaper. There's no reason ever to have a diaper in this style of photography. Like lifestyle is fine, but don't leave a diaper on if you're a posed newborn photographer. I have it still velcroed. So that stuffing that I had under there for the last pose, I'm just going to push it back to her feet a little bit. And I have Elizabeth hold her little feet too, and I'm going to grab her head. Put her back up on this little pillow, keeping her hands under her cheek.
6 days old, right?
Yes, 6 days old. Sorry.
Hands are just all in the way.
I know. So many hands. Again, I'm keeping our head into the light. Checking on our little fingers. And then we're going to drape this with purpose. Don't just flick it out there. And we'll only probably show it here because I'm not too worried about the top of that. I'm going to patting under her head here. So I'm not going to fix her toes. I know, her fingers, I know I'm being a little hypocritical, but since we're already at an hour, it might risk waking her up. Okay. For the sake of everybody's time today. Okay.
Ready?
Yep. Can you fix her toes for me a little bit? Into that toe that I just set up before. Got him?
Yeah.
Yeah. Clip. And half clip. Just going to clip this little piece down onto the backdrop. No, that's my arm. So if they won't stack their legs, as long as you do something intentional, it doesn't make it look like we just swapped them. One more time. It's driving me crazy. I'm not. It's driving me crazy.
You want to do a little laser?
She's just so relaxed.
Yeah.
Close oh, that'll work. Move out of our way. There we go. So I will post some of these up there. And if there's any questions, I can answer questions while we get a diaper back on her. And turn this guy off. She did awesome. So what I would do from here, and I'm not going to do it because of time, is I would flip her to her belly really gently. We would do bum up. Then I would tuck her legs underneath. Then I would tuck her legs. So I would flip her onto her belly really gently. And then from there, I would do the bum up, and then we would tuck her legs underneath and do the taco. And then from the taco, I transitioned to the froggy, and then from froggy, we transitioned to chin on hands or chin on arms. So that's kind of every little step, like to get her from her side to her belly is going to be just a really quick transition, and then to get her from her belly with her feet tucked under is a pretty easy transition. So each of my little setups are just a smooth transition from the last pose. So that's it, unless there's any other questions. And I'm just going to take her down. I'm usually...
Michelle says, Amber, you're amazing.
Oh, thank you. I'm sweating and I was nervous, and even though we teach online, I have a YouTube channel with a lot of little lighting tutorials and exercises, and here you go. My Baby Photo Academy course, we have hours and hours and hours and hours of filming and scripting. But there's something about live and knowing if the baby doesn't want to be posed.
Yeah, she was like,
Yeah, she did a great job.
I usually sleep.
And that hair.
Oh my gosh.
Just want to burn her fingers through the hair.
Okay. Any closing?
Okay, closing remarks. Oh, I got put that on her head because I'm supposed to wrapping. I think if I were to tell you like one takeaway would be to perfect every shot before you take it. Don't just take the safe, easy way out unless you feel like baby's going to wake up and you just need a safe shot. I do that often. But with like the pose one, make sure that, or the wrap one, make sure the wrap is the way you want it. Don't just always rely on Photoshop. So, kind of move the diaper down over the belly button.
You have a pose flows list.
I do have a pose flow list. I kind of gave it here. I have to ask my Baby Photo Academy partner if we can give out that pose list, or if that will be something that will make him frustrated. But I will at least give the ones that I did today. And then the ones that I just said, and obviously there's little transitions and for angles and different. We guarantee 25 images per gallery, except for the wrapped minis, and then for the wrapped minis we only do 10. But we usually overfulfill. It's hard for me to pull down. You're welcome to come check us out at thebabyphotoacademy.com, or if you just want to peek at my two-color photography work, we are having a sale at the Baby Photo Academy. Until February 1st, the course is actually only $99, and it covers everything from like picking out your camera to learning about exposure and aperture to starting up your business and marketing and branding. We cover obviously my entire newborn workflow wrap. We cover editing, and then as the course continues, the next segment we're adding is family posing, and not like family with newborns, but like family photography. And then we'll add seniors, and so it's a lifetime course. It's $99 for the lifetime of the course, for your lifetime. The course is lifetime. So hop on, just use the little coupon code Black Friday, because we're lazy and we haven't changed our coupon code since Black Friday, but it's only $99 until February 1st. I want decreasing our cost on February 1st. babyphotoacademy.com. Did I say that already? Okay, sorry.
No, I don't. That is what it's called.
And then my twocolorphotography.com and two-color photography Facebook pages, Instagram. Two is spelled out. TWO, color photography. I should, that's how, and you can guess how I just came up with my business name. Two-color photography. I get people asking me if we only do two colors. Quite original. My first name, Amber, is a color. My last name is Russ, which is also a color. That's my creative two-color photography. That's how we came up with my business name. And it's been that for 17 and a half years. So thanks for joining me.